Fuck it. I'm locking in. Deep work, gym, cold showers. Well, I think you can see that I've been doing this whole locking in thing for quite a while, and it's been great, but I've been having this one burning question that's been perplexing me for months, in that how do you do monk mode with the influence of technology in today's age? Think about it. You have text messages, emails, social media, traps. It's like one part of you wants to do the hard work and the other doesn't. How do you separate the influence of doom scrolling with the necessary tasks that require the internet? Some people promote monk mode as a way to overcome these influences through avoidance. The thing is, you really can't avoid them forever. So I decided to do research on books, articles, movies on how to be balanced with deep work without the negative pull of technology. After hours of searching, I found the secret to this predicament. Okay, so before I get into what really helped me from all of my research, I just wanted to introduce a movie that really encapsulates the situation I was in. That was literally me, right? I'll just quote myself out. When we view the film of American Psycho, we are introduced to Patrick Bateman, a wealthy investment banker that has less than desirable traits. Apart from the vain, shallow, and commercialist experience of the protagonist, he lives a very regimented life and curates himself very meticulously. The same traits that made him successful, the traits that made his inner experience void, he turns to murder to gain even a sliver of the excitement from his highly controlled life. These murders have to become more and more extreme to satisfy his empty life. He eventually becomes psychopathic and loses his mind in this world. If we compare that sort of regimen to an idea like monk mode in a nihilistic consumer society, that makes sense. Work for work's sake is great, but you kind of lose sight of the goal of why you're trying to do this in the first place. The stereotypes that you see on social media all the time give a standard that is not actually reality. I've gone this route personally and working with it, where I started to neglect my mental and physical health for these sort of gains. The short-term efforts from what I did were great, but the long-term consequences were absolutely horrendous. So how did I go from an unhealthy grind mode to grinding in a way that is sustainable and distractions don't really deter me? It requires something more than avoidance to make it sustainable over the long term. Otherwise, it turns into this.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
So, what did I find to overcome the growing sense of distraction of the ineffectual strategy of avoidance? Well, namely this. Got it. Yeah. Anchors. If we examine the cycle that a habit operates under, then we would realize that it follows the cue, routine, and reward cycle. In the power of habit, we know that once a routine is learned, it is extremely hard to get rid of it from the brain. Think of it like this. Once you've actually learned how to ride a bicycle, can you really unlearn riding a bicycle? Not really. We can, however, change the way we ride a bicycle based on different cues. We can ride a bicycle normally with one hand, with no hands. We have all anchors all around us, but if we want to change our habits without actually changing our environment, then object-based anchoring would be the best option. The premise of how this works is based on two things: cues and instantaneous pain. Doom scrolling is addictive because it's been effectively designed to be pleasurable. So if we take our object, which is our cue, and let's say we use our rubber band as a form of instantaneous pain, then we can become focused on whatever task we need to accomplish regardless of the distractions that are available. The object-based anchor should only be used when you actually want to be productive with your desired habit. Similar to how you would actually use a study room for only when you actually want to study. So the basic idea is to try to make your brain kind of compartmentalized. We're basically trying to change the routine of the habit without eliminating the neural pathways already formed within it. So this is how I was able to actually do monk mode without actually doing the recommended advice of just, avoiding social media or anything that quite honestly could distract me. We're essentially using the mechanism of our brain to our own advantage. We know that a habit repeated often becomes automatic. You literally stop thinking once the habit starts until the routine is finished. So if we can create a new cue that modifies our routine, then we can find ourselves being productive and yet distinguish when we intend to work or when we intend to relax. You can't really be distracted if you make the habit of productivity for yourself. You barely think about it, but yet you're being productive. The purpose of the end of the day was to find a better way to have a better quality of life. The purpose was to reset your brain to really appreciate life and go after the goals that you really wanted. If you found a balance to increase the sense of satisfaction in your life and the accomplishment of your goals, then you lived a good life. What more could you want from locking in?